All right, another live stream I'm doing here. And this time I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I have written. First, I'm going to talk about businesses and their credit cards. And then I'm going to go into talking about, give me a moment here, talk a little bit about retail sales. And I'm going to talk about economics, the field of economics, which I read a couple of days ago in a magazine. So those are the things I'm going to discuss. But first off, I'm going to talk about businesses. Now, I've seen more and more businesses are relying on credit cards to run their operations rather than going to the bank to get a loan. Now, maybe they found that they may have a less interest to pay in using their credit cards rather than taking out a loan from the bank to borrow money to run their businesses. Now, this depends on a number of factors. It depends on how much a business has to pay back the banks and what the interest rates are on the loans that these businesses borrow. And that always is a problem when it comes to paying back the loans because not all loans are the same when it comes to the banks lending loans to businesses. Some loans have higher interest rates than others when it comes to borrowing money. And of course, running a business on a credit card has its drawbacks as well. This is mainly because depending on the credit card, just like credit card, loans, interest rates can vary with credit cards, with some credit cards having higher interest rates than others. And just like the loans that are borrowed, bank loans that are borrowed from the banks, some of them have higher interest rates than others. So that's both running a business, borrowing money from the bank or using a credit card. Both of these have their advantages and disadvantages. Just got to do the research and find out which bank loan or which credit card works best for your business. And I think this is just regarding small and medium-sized businesses rather than big corporations. Medium-sized businesses with about maybe 50 or 100 employees, say at least, unlike most big companies that have over 10,000 employees, which is a lot to keep track of. But okay, now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about retail sales. Now, that's the big bulk of it, business, retail sales. And they say that retail sales have really, really increased here in Canada. In fact, it has done better than most countries, industrialized countries in the world, including the United States. Now, their retail sales in Canada have risen 2.4% during last week or this week. And while the US has only risen about 1.6%, which is quite a low percentage. But I gotta take some things into consideration. And I think the US economy is not as strong as it used to be. But well, that's what they say anyways. But there are some sectors maybe that the US is doing well in. But this interest rate for Canada doesn't really tell the whole story. 2.4%. They think it's an increase, but that's quite low in itself, because this is a time when most retailers, former retailers, have shut their doors, and most Canadians, they're not really spending a whole lot of money since the pandemic has gone or disappeared. So I don't know where they got the stats of 2.4% in retail sales. So I don't know. And I suspect in most stores, they basically close their doors, and not much foot traffic is going to their stores. And most people, or majority of people, are shopping online. So that says a lot right there, reveals a lot. And that this 2.4%, I think that's a common question, where the US is lower than other industrialized countries. I don't know about other industrialized countries like UK, Australia, Western Europe, or let alone New Zealand. I don't know about those. Now, Canada, though, I would say they've risen their rates, their sales, even though there are some stores that have shut their doors and have laid off a lot of their employees. So that has been covered. And finally, I'm going to talk about economics, the field of economics. I just read this article in Bloomberg Business Week magazine about the lack of women in the field of economics. Now, I looked at the story and I agreed with it to some extent. But what they don't tell is how about the amount of Black women that are in the field of economics? They never displayed any of them. They were all basically white women in the field of economics. So, and they say there's not enough women entering that field. Well, maybe there could be a number of factors as to why that is. If you take, say, for instance, Black and white women, I would say most Black women never are able to get into the field of economics because maybe the schools don't accept them, maybe due to the racist policies that are there, preventing them from entering the universities, either through learning and getting a degree or even teaching. But again, most women, Black women, there are only a few number of them. They make a small percentage of them teaching. But mostly Black people as a whole, because I never saw any Black men that are basically trying to get into the field of economics. Both Black men and Black women, to say the least, either through, say, doing the research and teaching at most of these colleges and universities, or working even in Wall Street. But that's the main thing, Wall Street. No stories about Black men and Black women working as economists in Wall Street. You believe that? The story I read in Bloomberg Business Week, all white women. Of course, that's not really surprising because you got this affirmative action, so-called affirmative action, which has really helped a lot of women, particularly white women, gain the upper hand in the field of economics, or either through teaching in most universities or working on Wall Street as an economist. So that article I read, that does have some true facts, some few bites in there. Again, like any other article, any other person or journalist that writes, they never really tell the whole story or give you out the whole picture or give out the whole stats as to who is working in the field of economics and what are the real demographics, who are the demographics that are working in that field. I know I could be wrong on that, but that's just my observation and my take on this. And okay, we're almost up to the 11-minute mark, and I'm going to end this stream with that thought.